Hi, I'm Nadim. Welcome to Data Popcorn. This is my 5-minute session, Beyond the Hype, a pragmatic look at code-first and low-code approaches in modern data platforms. So for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to talk about comparing code-first approaches versus low-code, no-code approaches in modern data platforms. There are two approaches, and we're going to discuss which one is right for your business and how AI is changing both approaches. So, should you go code first or should you go low code? Well, organizations must choose between the two options. A code first approach, which is the more traditional approach, more flexible but also more customizable. On the other hand, we have the low code, no code approach that's faster and easier to implement and to deploy, but also gives us some limitations for our businesses. And we're going also to talk about how AI is reshaping both approaches. So let's understand the two approaches. Well, the first approach, the code first approach, is a highly customizable approach, but also scalable for our business, so our data platforms are highly scalable in the near and long-term future. However, this approach requires more expertise and more resources and also more time to deploy the solutions on the data platform. On the other hand, the low-code, no-code approach for development is a faster development, so our development times are faster, and we are democratizing app creation by enabling other less technical people to develop our solution. However, we also have a higher vendor lock-in, for example, in a SaaS data platform approach with a low-code, no-code approach, and we are limited on our flexibility. However, we also have the AI role in both approaches. So for the code-first approach, it boosts our efficiency by automating and making suggestions and helping us code faster in the day-to-day business. On the low-code side of things, we have enhancement in our tools with AI-infused products. We have more powerful products that we can use on a day-to-day basis, and we are more adaptable in our way of working. The key considerations for making the decisions are scalable and maintenance. Code first is best for large-scale deployments and for complex solutions. If you have a quick and easy deployment that you want to go through with, then low code, no code is probably the best approach, but you may struggle with growth in the future. How about the vendor lock-in and the optimization? Well, for low code, you're tied to the vendor's ecosystem, so there's a higher vendor lock-in. However, on the code first approach, we have more control, yet we also need higher expertise for our solution deployment and development. The total cost of ownership. For the low code, we have a lower startup cost. So there's less initial investment, but the long-term vendor costs due to the vendor lock-in are quite higher in the future. For the code-first approach, we have a higher upfront investment due to resources that we need and expertise, but we have more predictable costs in the future and of course a higher ownership in total. The best practices and AI's roles. Well, when going code first, we are considering complex logic, complex integrations and scalable solutions. So this would be a choice you make if you're going for this kind of scenario. However, the low code makes more sense if you want quick solutions, do a prototype of something like a POC or anything like that, but also have resource limited teams. So if you have a lower cost, if you need lower cost in your deployment, this would be a best approach for you. However, AI is changing the game for everything. It is helping us automate coding and is enhancing the development efficiency for the code-first approach, but also the low-code, no-code approach. And it is kind of bridging the gap between low-code and code-first. So the two approaches are closing in on each other. The final takeaways and the next steps. Well, let me give you a decision guide. If you need speed and accessibility, go for low-code. If you need flexibility and scalability, go for code first. So what's the best approach? Of course, a hybrid approach. A solution like Microsoft Fabric offers you a hybrid approach of going code first, for example, in notebooks, but low code, no code in query transformations such as Gen 2 Dataflow or Power BI solutions. What are the next steps for your business? Well, assess the total cost of ownership, the scalability, and the AI-driven tools that you have available to make a decision. And of course, leverage AI-powered platforms to optimize your day-to-day workflow. A closing thought for us: no single method wins. It's all about choosing the right tool for the job. Thank you very much. I'm Nadim, and I hope to see you soon.